Hey guys, in this video, we're going to take a look at how to install Plex on OpenMediaVault 5 using Docker and Portainer. We're also going to do a couple of little fixes in there that are known to plague Plex and a couple of other applications using Docker and Portainer on OpenMediaVault 5. Now, this whole video is based on the idea that you've already got OpenMediaVault 5 set up. Doesn't matter if it's on a Raspberry Pi 4 or an old PC or whatever. Just make sure that you watch one of my previous videos or somebody else's previous videos on how to set up OpenMediaVault 5. I will have links in the description and or in the blog post down below where you can learn how to set up OpenMediaVault 5. Make sure you've got all that set up and then come back and watch this video. Like I said, we're going to install Plex using Docker and Portainer, and we're going to use a little fix in there that is known to plague a couple of apps using this system. So when you're ready, come back. We're going to jump over to my desktop and we're going to get started. One other thing that I forgot to mention is you will need a Plex account. They're free. Go over to plex.tv, sign up for an account because you will need it for this process later on. Okay guys, so here we are on a fresh install of OpenMediaVault 5. Now this is going to be the same whether it's on a Raspberry Pi 4 or on an old PC or whatever. This is OpenMediaVault 5. So let's go ahead and jump in, and what we're going to do in this video is actually do things like get Docker and Portainer, and then our ultimate goal to get installed here is going to be Plex. So we'll install Docker and Portainer. We're going to do a little fidgeting and some SSH stuff, and then we're going to get Plex installed, and so let's just go ahead and jump into everything we need to do to get that going. So first things first, make sure that you've done all of your updates. I've already done all of that, so just make sure that all of your updates are done. Once they are done, we can move on to the next step, which will be to go over here to OMV-Extras.org. Again, we're using OMV5, so we're going to click on this very first link right here. That's going to take us over to bin tray. What we want to do is look over here where it says OpenMediaVault -OMV-Extras.org. And we want to make sure that it's the newest version here. In this case, was updated just about 6 days ago. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Again, same thing here. You can see that there are multiple versions here. We do want to make sure that we get the most recent version. So we're going to click on 5.2.1 in this case. And then on this page here, we're going to come up to this Files tab. Then we're going to click on Pool, and then Main, and then O, and then OpenMediaVault-OMV-Extras.org. And then we want to download this OpenMediaVault-OMV-Extras.org_5.2.1_all.deb. That's the file that we're looking for right now. So we're going to go ahead and download that. Okay, so once we've gone ahead and downloaded this .deb file, we can go back over here to OpenMediaVault, go over to Plugins, click Upload, click Browse, find the file that we just downloaded, click OK, and then OK there, and then it should look for our new plugin here. Cool, so once it's done that, and it doesn't look like anything changed, that's fine. What we want to do is just type in extra, or something close to that until we get to the package that we just uploaded. We'll check the little box there, and then we'll click install. We'll say yes. And then this could take a little while depending on your internet connection speed. Now, even though it paused there for a second and said done, you'll actually know that this is completely done when this little close button here becomes active again, and it'll be kind of a blue color. So even if this pauses, it's not done until the close button becomes available again. So now that we've gone ahead and done that, we'll go ahead and click OK and let that reload. And over here, now we've got OMV-Extras. So what I want to do now is actually go ahead and reboot. Just because anytime I install something, I like to reboot. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Then when we come back, we will install Docker and Portainer. Okay, so now here we're logged back in. We can go ahead and click on OMV-Extras. What we'll do is come over here to the Docker tab right here. And right here it says not installed. That's good. It also says the Portainer is not installed, so that's good. What we're going to do is actually come up here and click install. And we'll give this just a little while to do its thing. Okay, so we got our blue button back, so that means we're good to go there. And then what we'll do is we'll come up to the Portainer drop down here, and we'll say install there as well. So now both of these say that they're installed and running, or that they've been up for a little while. So that's good. That means that both of those things are working the way we expect them to. So the next thing that we need to do is actually fix some issues. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a program like Putty to log in via SSH. So we'll type in our IP address, and we'll press enter, and then we'll say yes to that. That's fine. And then we're going to type in root and our password. All right, so the first thing we want to do is edit the OpenMediaVault configuration.xml file. And what we want to do is do a search for, I press Control W for where, but what we want to do is search for MNTENT, and then what we're looking for here, you can see that this is in yellow, where it's got the open bracket and the exclamation point and the 2 dashes. That's being commented out. So what we want to do is actually come down here a little bit until we get to a spot where it's not commented out. And what we're looking for is this line right here that says options, this OPTS. That's for options. Now what we want to do on this line is we want to come over here, right here to where it says noexec, and we want to delete that. So we'll just come over here and we'll delete that. Make sure that there's only 1 comma in between the next 2 options here. And then what we'll do is we'll just say Control X, and we're going to say yes, and we're going to hit enter. And then that will have removed the noexec issue that we would have run into later when we install Plex. So what we want to do now is type in the next command, which will actually kind of execute and refresh everything here. That's OMV-salt space deploy space run space fs tab. And that all looks good there. So what we want to do now is actually reboot. So we'll just go ahead and type in reboot and hit enter. And that will actually close our connection because it is in the process of rebooting here. So we'll give this a minute to redo, or to go ahead and reboot. I've got something open in the other screen, so I know exactly where we are in the process. But we do want to open up Putty again. And we'll type in our IP address. And we'll go ahead and click enter, and we'll log in as root. Like so. Actually, I didn't like that blinking screen back there. So now what we want to do is verify that everything we just did worked. So we're going to type in cat, oh gosh darn it, where did it go? Cat space dash proc dash mount. Now all of the stuff that I'm typing in here will be available in either the description or in the blog post down below. So right here is our storage device that we have in place, and I don't see noexec in there. So I think we're good to go. So what we're going to do is we're just going to close that. We're going to say yes, and then we're going to log back in. Okay, so now let's take a look at sharing some files and folders. I've already got a 250 gig drive plugged in here. That's this dev/sda1. We can see that it's already mounted, so that should be good. If you haven't done this yet, go ahead and plug in and mount the external hard drive that you'd like to store your media on, and then go ahead and get it mounted. Once that's done, we're going to go over here to shared folders. Now we're going to have to think about what we want in our shared folders. Now first off, we need a configuration file. So I'm just going to create we're going to need a configuration folder rather. So I'm going to name this one config, and I'm going to select my 250 gig drive here. And you can see that the path has already been filled in, so that's good. Now we're going to go down here and make sure that everybody can read and write, and then we'll click save. Close that. Now, and we'll come back to this yellow bar here in a little bit after we add all of the files or all the folders that we want. Now, of course, if we're going to have a Plex server, we're probably going to want a folder called movies, someplace to put all of our movies in, and we're just going to go through this process again. I'll click save, and I'll click add, and then maybe some TV shows would be something else that we'd want. So again, we're going to go through this whole process a few times, and then I've got a library of kids movies that I want my son to be able to access without accessing all of the other movies. So I'm just going to create a folder called kids, and then again, same thing here all the way down. We'll click save. And now that we've done that, what we want to do is come over to smb/cifs. We're going to make sure that that's enabled. And we'll click save. We'll click shares, and then we'll click add. And now we're just going to kind of come down this list. I'm going to select the configuration. I'm going to say public, only guests, save. And I'm just going to do that for all of the different shares that I've created here to make sure that we can access them on the network, and to make sure that they're fully readable and writable by anything that needs to be able to read and write to it. One more here, we're going to do TV, and we're going to say only guests and click save. That all looks good. So now I can come up here and click apply and say yes. Okay, so now that we've created all of our shares, the next thing we can do is actually go over here to back over here to OMV-Extras, go to Docker, and then we will go ahead and click on the Open Web under Portainer. So because this is the first time we're logging into Portainer, we will need to create a username and a password. Now, I'm just going to leave the username as admin, but you can change that to whatever you'd like it to be. And then I'm going to type in a password, and then I'm going to repeat that password, and I'm going to create the user. And then I'm going to say we're going to manage a local environment because we're just going to manage the one on our server here. And then I'll say connect. And then I'll dismiss this up here, just to keep things clean. So now we've got our main screen here. So we're going to go ahead and click on local. And then we're going to click on containers, and we're going to add a container. Now I'm going to call this Plex. Oops. And I'm just going to leave it lowercase just because. Now the other thing I want to do here, and again, all of these instructions will be in the blog post or in the description down below, but I'm going to go to hub.docker.com/u/Linux server, and actually I'm just going to search for Plex here, and I'll just have a link directly to this on here. So if we scroll down far enough, eventually we'll come down to where it says Docker Compose, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a lot of the information in here to put in. I'm just going to drag this over, drag that over. We're going to use a lot of this information to fill in a lot of the information here. So here where it says image, we're going to go ahead and just copy this, paste that in there. We've got our container name. We gave that up here. So next thing down here is it says network mode is host. So we'll scroll down to where it says network under advanced container settings. We'll switch it from bridged to host. And now the next thing here is it's asking for a PUID and a PGID. Now the way we're going to get that is we're going to open up PuTTY again. And again, we'll go ahead and log in. We'll say root. We'll log in. So what we're looking for is the ID of the admin account. So in my case, I'm going to type in ID admin. And here we can see that the PU or the UID is 998 and the GID is 100. So we're going to correlate UID with PUID and GID with PGID. So what we'll do is we'll just drag that over there, and we'll go over here to the environment variable tab there, and we're going to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do 4. We're going to skip the Plex claim. So we're going to do 4 of these. And we're going to say PUID, in my case, is 998. PGID is 100. Version is Docker. and use or umask underscore set 022. Okay, so now we can go ahead and minimize that. So again, we're going to skip the Plex claim. That one's optional, as is the umask underscore set. But there's no need for the claim on this. It should do it automatically. So the next thing we want to do here is actually go to our volumes. Now we're going to have to kind of go back and forth between Portainer and OpenMediaVault 5 to get the volumes. But what we can do is we know that we're going to have configuration, TV, movies, and remember I added kids to this. So we're going to need a total of 4 of these. So again, I'll just go ahead and open up 4 of these. And then I'm going to click bind on all of them. So the first thing I'll do is I'll say /config and then /kids and /movies and then /TV. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need to get the actual direct path to that on the host. So what we'll do is we'll go back to OpenMediaVault. We're going to go over here to our shared folders. And I'm just going to drag this open a little bit more so we can see. So the next thing we need to do is we actually need to come up to one of these tabs up here, one of these headers, click the little drop down, go to columns, and click on absolute path. And we're going to open this up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click, I'll do an inspect, and I'm just going to open up, I'm just going to get this so I can copy it, and I'll come back over to here, and then for config, I was able to type that in. So the next thing I want to do is actually make this specific to Plex. So that way, in the configuration folder, we can use this configuration folder that we created here for any of the apps that we decide to install later, just by appending it with whatever the application name is at the end. So I went ahead and typed in or used that Plex or the configuration folder location and then added Plex to the end of it. So the next thing I want to do is kind of the same thing here. I'm going to right click, I'll go to inspect. And then again, I'll just go ahead and copy this and close that. And this is for kids. Now, because these are all pretty much the same, what I can do is just come in here. I can type in movies. I suppose I should probably put a trailing slash there. And then I can do the same thing here. And I can say TV. So that is all of the volumes that we need in order to make Plex work. Now, the last thing we need to do here is change the restart policy, which is going to be right here, from never to unless stopped. Now, with all of that being done, we don't need to do anything under command and logging. We've already taken care of volumes and network. We switched that to host. The environment, we put in our PUID and our PGID and our version and our umask set. We don't need to do anything in labels. Restart policy is unless stopped. And then the runtime resources and the capabilities, we don't need to do anything in either of those. So what we can do then is actually come right up here where it says deploy the container and click that. And this may take a little while in order to get started here. So we'll give this a little while and then we'll come back. So while this is doing its thing, what we can actually do here is open up a browser, a file browser window rather, and go / and type in our IP address of our server. And here you can see that we've got a configuration folder. And if I open that, there's a Plex folder inside. Then there's a library, an application support, PlexMediaserver. And then this is all of the configuration stuff that's specific to Plex. And that's why we put it in its own folder here. So if I come back and go to the kids folder, I'll just pop open something new here. And I'll go to my expansion drive and I'll go to media. I'll give that drive a second to boot up since it's, 6 o'clock in the morning and I haven't touched it yet. So we'll go to kids movies and then we're just going to grab, let's grab Bambi and drag that in there. And then for movies, just for general movies, let's grab something. Let's grab Army of Darkness and drag that one over there. And then for TV shows, let's come back over here. We'll go to TV, and then we'll grab Firefly because it was only one season. Very sad, but it's great for this because it was only one season, and it will be less to deal with later. So while that's all copying over, we can go ahead and minimize all of that in the background. So what I can do now is open up my IP address, and I can say port 3000 or 32,400 /web/index.html and click enter. So you may get something like this. This is our OMV5 server. We're going to go ahead and click on claim it now. Everything here looks good. We're going to click on claim server. Oops, there we go. We'll go ahead and sign in. Got it. All right, so we found our server. I don't want this to be accessible from the outside, so I'm going to uncheck that. That may be different for you. If you want to make it accessible from the outside of your home, go ahead and leave that, but I'm going to click next now. And now we can add the libraries to our server. So we'll go ahead and click on add. We'll click movies. We're going to go over here to add folder, click on browse, and we're going to click on movies here. And here you can see it's actually got the movie that we put in there, so that's good. We'll click on add. We'll click add library. Now we're going to do the same thing again. This time we're going to click on movies, but I'm going to type in, I'm going to add kids to that. And I'll click on add folder, browse for media, go to the kids. There's that Bambi. So we'll go and click add. We'll click add again. This time we'll go to TV shows, click add folder, go to browse for media, click on TV, we'll click add, and then add library. Now, if you wanted to add music or other libraries, whatever, you could continue this process until you had all of your libraries added. So now we'll click next, and we'll click done. And then we'll have to come over here. This is a little different because I've got multiple servers set up. Bruce Banner is the server I've had up for a while now, whereas OMV5 is the one that we just set up. So what we'll do now is let's just go over to the kids' movies. You can see that it already found the movie, so we should be able to click play. I'll give this a second to think. It is doing quite a bit of other stuff in the background, but there we go. Now we have Bambi on here. This, of course, is the version from 1942. So it is working. There you go. Now we have officially set up Plex, all of the shared folders we need, and we fixed the noexec issue that tends to plague Plex on OpenMediaVault 5. Okay, guys, so there you go. There's how to set up Plex on OpenMediaVault 5 using Docker and Portainer. Overall, even including the SSH stuff, pretty simple process to go through. Only takes a few minutes to get everything all set up and ready to go. And now you can serve all your media to anybody in your household or anybody that you want to share your media with outside your household, as long as you know how to do port forwarding and that kind of thing. But that's very, very much outside the scope of this video. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you found it helpful. If you did, big thumbs up would be immensely helpful to me. And I think with all of that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. As always, thanks for your time. I always appreciate your support, and I'll talk to you in the next video.